Again, I appreciate everybody coming out this morning, and good to see Anna here.
Thank you.
Mascot for the day, you know. Good to see her always. But yeah, as Richard mentioned, that you know, we wrapped things up last Saturday morning in the House. I think it was about 1:35 in the morning, but we didn't go as long as the Senate. But he made a comment about the Illinois governor seemed to get in trouble, and actually one of them is a constituent of mine there in Terre Haute, Governor Ryan, I think he is. But anyway, it's but overall, you know, I think this state is in good shape financially. You know, we're looking at whatever the numbers are, you know, 1.7 billion in surplus, or, you know, then we found the 320 million, 328 million back in December, and so forth, and we're dealing with that. And as Senator Bray mentioned, because of the law that we passed last year, the law says that we do have to give that back to people who file a tax return, and it comes out to about $50 per individual. You're not going to get a check for that, but you're going to get a credit on your for your taxes when you file them again, coming up very soon. But yeah, there was a lot of issues that we dealt with this past session, and as I think everybody knows, you know, the right to work kind of dominated the first part of that session. And after we came back from that break, right after the Super Bowl, it seemed to be things got quite pretty quiet, I guess. And as freshman legislators, we never knew how to react to that, you know, because of from last year and this past January and so forth. But and you know, again, I got was at a function last night in Terre Haute, and I get a lot of good comments pertaining to that. And somebody has issues on both sides, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know, with right to work or non-right to work. But time will tell. And you know, I've read recently that the governor said there's 30 to 35 companies, and 30, yeah, and I think that number is going to grow as far as, you know, companies that are going to look to locate here in the Midwest, and especially Indiana. I'm hearing a lot of good things behind the scenes, whether it's here in the Spencer area or in Terre Haute and even Clay County and so forth. But and I'm excited about the prospects with Interstate 69 over here. Part of my eastern part of the district, District 46, deals with western part of Monroe County, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing that major interstate project be completed in the next year or two, and feel like that's really going to help growth in this area from Indianapolis on down to Evansville and all the spin-offs from that. But anyway, there was a lot of issues that we dealt with, and I'll have Jim talk about the military relief and military parenting time matters that you have before you. But I think he, as well as Representative Bruce Borders, was involved in that quite a bit. But as Senator Bray mentioned about the conflict of interest and nepotism law that we passed, and I believe the governor signed. I know Senator Connie Lawson has dealt with that for many years, I guess, and finally got both houses on the same page to get that through. And I know a lot of people that I've talked to, they were strongly for that, and so. You know, again, I had a couple people that really questioned that because of their situation, I guess, but it was something that I think was long overdue and what we had to get through. But the very last bill of that, of last Saturday morning, I guess, was, I think it was House Bill 1376, and that bill had a lot of amendments in there, and bills and so forth that was added to it, but it dealt with, it did add, you know, a little bit more money into the state fair tragedy, those victims. I did not go to that conference committee hearing that they had, but I guess there was some individuals that testified in there, and they're, totally disabled. And and then there was, from that, there's, you're looking at, I think it's going to come down to the county level, how we're going to deal with some of the county fairs and stages that they may have to make sure that they're, strong enough to withstand certain conditions and that type of thing. So, and that's going to be looked at over the summer and going to be addressed as well as next year. But so one thing that Representative Milo Smith from the Columbus area, he carried a bill that dealt with synthetic drugs and bath salts. So this is something where it was, it just dealt with, some of these kids, I guess, they're looking for maybe a different high or something, but it is an issue that's out there, and but that passed the House. The concurrent vote, I think, was 94-0, and in the Senate, that third reading was 50-0. But that was something that was dealt with. I think spice, and I think K2 is the drug that they call it. But but there was also one bill that that affects us all. If you remember the last year with the Indiana Supreme Court ruling of the unlawful entry, the Barnes case, if you remember reading about that last year. Well, I think Senator Young, I think it was, Michael Young, and in the Senate, he was the author of that bill, and it came over to the House, and Representative Judd McMullen in District 68. He was the sponsor of that bill, and Judd sits right next to me there in the chambers, and he was very involved with that and working with the Sheriff's Association, prosecutors, the FOP. They never did really get on board with that, but and it's hard to get everybody on the same page to agree. But this was something where this Barnes case was dealt with unlawful entry, and when you talk about that in the Castle Doctrine, a lot of people are very sensitive to not having just anybody bash down their door and come in and do whatever. But it's something where I talked to the sheriffs in the district, and they can, they're not excited about it, but it's they'll just deal with it as they mentioned to me, and so it's kind of it's something we have to just kind of look at, but it's something where it's very important. We have this law for the last 200 years, and we basically had, I think the vote on the Indiana Supreme Court was 3-2, and so if you had one judge to vote with those other two, we might not have had to deal with that this past year. But Representative McMullen has told me that if anybody in the district, law enforcement on down, wants to hear his version of it, he'd be more than happy to come to Spencer and have a meeting and talk about that decision. And I'm probably going to have him over in Terre Haute later on this summer. And I don't know about Jim, but people are, they want to hear about that and why it came about and so forth. But so with that, I'll turn it over to Representative Baird.